Hello everybody, it's Mrs. Frybren here, and today we're going to be learning how to use bar diagrams to find parts of a number. Before we get started, it would be helpful if you did have a pencil, some scratch paper, an eraser, and maybe even a partner to help you during some partner talk. Don't forget, you can always pause the video and go back to parts of the video that you want to review. So let's get started. Here is a bar diagram. I want you to think of all the ways a bar diagram can help you when trying to solve math problems. You can pause the video to write some ideas down, or if you have a partner with you, why don't you talk it out? When you're ready, you can unpause and come back to the video. When I think of a bar diagram, I know that it can help me with fractions. I know that it can help me with adding, and I can even cut it apart if I had it on a piece of paper and move it around to help me with other types of maths. If you came up with other ideas, make sure you wrote them down or you shared them with a partner. Today, this bar diagram is going to help us in finding part of a whole number. So today, we are learning how to use bar diagrams to find parts of a number. I want you right now to think about how this objective relates to your own learning. How do you feel about this before we start? Are you a level 4, 3, 2, or 1? And you can write that down and see if it changes by the end of the lesson. And it's okay if you're unsure what we're talking about, because we're going to go through this together, and hopefully by the end you'll increase in your self-assessment. I would like to review with you just different parts of a fraction. We've been working with fractions for quite some time now, but I do want to remind you that we have a numerator and a denominator when we're working with fractions. And I wanted to just show you a model to remind you that 3/4 is just part of a whole. The denominator, 4, makes up the whole part, like this sample here that's shaded, and then the 3 is the number that is shaded. So we can also talk about fractions as part of a whole. Our big idea for today, going back to bar diagrams, is that we can actually use a bar diagram to find a part of a number, and this will help us model our understanding and our thinking. 1/4 of 16 is the same as saying 16 divided by 4. And this bar diagram here today will help us model and explain this type of division and this type of partition when we're working with whole numbers. Our success criteria for today, things that you can already do that will help you be successful, is the following. I can use bar diagrams to model fractions. I can represent fractions with models, and I can interpret fractions as division. So these are things we've been doing and that you already have some practice in that will help you be successful with today's lesson. So let me show you a couple of examples and then we'll try some together. So we need to find 3/4 of 16. In order to do this, I need to first identify the denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and use my tools here to draw. My denominator is 4, and my whole number that I'm working with is 16. So I'm going to draw a bar diagram, and excuse my drawing here. And this whole bar represents my whole number, which is 16. I'm going to divide my bar into 4. I'm going to try my best to make them 4 equal pieces. Imagine that they are equal. And I'm going to divide my whole number by my denominator, which would be 16 divided into 4. When I do that, I have 4 here, 4 here, 4 here, and 4 here, because 16 divided by 4 is 4. If I want to find 3/4, now it's time to look at the numerator. Then I'm going to collect 3/4 of my model. When I do that, I have 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is equal to 12. So when I need to find 3/4 of 16, I know that it equals 12. I'm going to review the steps with you, and then we'll try another one together. We need to identify the denominator first. We're going to draw a bar diagram using our whole number to represent that whole. We're going to divide the bar diagram based on the denominator, and then we can solve based on the numerator. Let me show you another example. This one's written a little bit differently. This one says 9 times 1/3. So I identify the denominator, which is 3. I'm going to draw my bar diagram based on this whole number. So I'm going to draw out my big bar. The whole bar is 9. I'm going to divide the bar diagram, which is step 3, based on my denominator. So I have 1, 2, 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So I'm going to put 3, 3, and 3. Now I'm going to solve based on my numerator. I'm only looking at one piece here. So 9 times 1/3 is equal to 3. All right, we're going to continue with some more practice. If you want to go back and review those models, you can. If you want to pause before I solve the ones that we're going to practice and you want to try them on your own, you can do that, or you can follow along with me. So now I need to find 2/3 of 15. The denominator I am identifying first is 3. I'm going to do step 2, which is to draw my bar diagram and represent it with the whole number, which is 15. I'm going to divide my bar diagram based on this denominator, which is 3 spaces again. And that means it's going to be 15 divided into 3, which gives me 5, 10, and 15. I need to solve based on this numerator. I have 2/3. So 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. So 2/3 of 15 is 10. Before I move forward, I would like to talk about what I did here to make sure I understand. And if you have a partner with you, you can go ahead and share with your partner, or if you want to write it down, that would be helpful too. So I would choose, I think the one I want to use is, I can solve this by making a bar diagram based on the denominator and use the numerator to figure out the answer. You can go ahead and pause if you want to work it out again, if you want to review it again, or we can keep moving forward. Let's take a look at this one, 8 times 1/4. So my denominator is 4. Going to draw my bar diagram based on my whole number, which is 8. Divide my bar diagram based on the denominator, which will be 4, as equal as I can. 8 divided by 4 is 2, so that means 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm looking at my numerator to solve, which would just be one piece. So 8 times 1/4 is equal to 2. Again, to talk this out, I found the answer by creating a bar diagram and using the model to solve the problem. All right, let's move on to our next equation. Find 1/2 of 16. So I know some of you may be thinking, oh, that's easy. I can do that one in my head. That's great. I really want you to keep that answer in your mind, but I still want you to practice drawing out the model because it's important that we represent this as a model. So I identify the denominator, which is 2, draw my bar diagram based on the whole number, which is 16, divide it into 2. So I have 8 and 8 because 16 divided by 2 is 8. I'm looking for just the 1 based on the numerator. So 1/2 of 16 is 8. Moving forward to talk this out, I would choose the bottom sentence here. It is important to know this skill because modeling can help us understand problems in the real world. I use my parents a lot for this type of example because they worked on remodeling a house for a long time, and they did have to find a lot of fractions of whole pieces to understand how many materials they would need during their remodel and things like that. So it is important to be able to visualize these types of problems, and that's why we have models. Okay, let's try this one. 25 times 2/5 So my denominator is 5. Draw my bar diagram, which is going to represent 25 divided into 5 pieces. So let's divide this as equally as I can. 25 divided by 5 is 5, so I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Looking at 2/5 because of my numerator, and 2/5 would be 5 plus 5, which equals 10. So 25 times 2/5 is 10. And to turn and talk, I would say I understand this because I used a bar diagram to model 2/5 of 25, which is equal to 10. All right, great job, everybody. We'll keep moving forward and try just a couple more. 2/3 of 18. So my denominator is 3. Bar diagram 18 divided into 3 spaces. 18 divided by 3 is 6. 6, 12, 18. Using my numerator to solve, I'm going to choose 2 parts there. 6 plus 6 is 12. So 2/3 of 18 is 12. Using my math talk, I can check my work by using my bar diagram and making sure that I divided the bar diagram using the denominator. Okay, let's try this one. 24 times 3/4. Denominator is 4, whole number is 24. Draw my bar diagram. Oh, interesting bar there. The whole number is 24, divided into 4 equal spaces here. 24 divided by 4 is 6. 6, 6, 6, 6, and that gives us 4 right there. Now I look at my numerator, which is 3. I'm going to use these 3. When I add 6 plus 6 plus 6, I get 18. So 24 times 3/4 is 18. Excellent job. Okay, we're going to move forward. Go ahead and turn and talk and share your response. And I want to show you one last word problem here and see if we can figure it out the same way. Marty washed 3/8 of the plates from dinner. If 16 plates were used, how many plates did Marty wash? So we'll do the same thing. It's basically 16 times 3/8 or 3/8 of 16. So my denominator is, looks more like an addition sign than multiplication. Change that. Is 8. My whole number is 16. I'm going to divide that into my 8 pieces here as equally as I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I need to add one more here. 16 divided by 8 is 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And perfect. Now I'm looking at my numerator, which is 3, and I take these 3 pieces. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. So how many plates were washed? 6 plates. If at any time you need to go back through the lesson and review what we've done to help you, then feel free to go back. I'm going to skip that one there. So let's talk about our learning objective. Today we are learning how to use bar diagrams to find parts of a number. I want you to think about your own learning right now, and let's use this self-assessment, a level of understanding, to see if you moved up a little bit. Where are you right now? And write that number down and see if you've increased. Let's practice some closure questions. So let's solve this word problem. You can go ahead and pause and solve on your own and then come back and see how we solved it, or you can follow along with me. Jameson used plant fertilizer on 4/7 of his potted flowers. If he has 28 potted flowers, how many did he use plant fertilizer? So let's take a look here. We have 4/7. He used plant fertilizer on 4/7 of his potted flowers. He has 28 in total. So what is 4/7 of 28? My denominator is 7. My whole number is 28, so I'm going to divide this into 7 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need one more space here. 28 divided by 7 is 4. So I have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. And he used plant fertilizer on 4, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to add those 4s together. 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 4 is 12, 12 plus 4 is 16. So how many plants did he use plant fertilizer on? 16. Okay, let's practice one more question. I'd like for you to use this bar diagram to write a real-world word problem. So taking a look at this, what kind of word problem would you write? You can pause and write your word problem, or you can listen to what I've come up with. I was thinking that maybe somebody had gone to the store and they had $12 to spend at the store. And maybe they only spent 2/3 of their money. How much money did they spend? Well, if they only spent 2/3 of their money, it would be these two. So that means they spent $8. Thank you so much for following along and learning how to use bar diagrams to find parts of a number. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to continue, you can subscribe and like this video to listen to other direct instruction lessons. Thank you guys. Have a great day.